Hello guys, welcome to my channel Coding Riders. Today is our second lecture about the decision control statement. So let's start the video. So let's discuss decision making instructions. C has three major decision making instructions: the if statement, the if else statement, and the switch statement. A fourth, somewhat less important, is conditional operators. Our decision control instructions can be implemented in C using the if statement, the if else statement, and the conditional operators. So let's discuss about the if statement. The keyword if is used in C to implement the if decision control instructions. Syntax is: if this condition is true, execute this statement. The condition following the if keyword is always enclosed within a pair of parentheses. As we can see, here is a one parenthesis, the closed parenthesis, and here is the open parenthesis, and it will create a pair of parentheses in which the condition is there. And it is important for the condition statements that they are in the parentheses. So move to the next point. If the condition is true, then the statement is executed, and if the condition is not true, then the statement is not executed, because it has only if statement and not the else statement. And we are going to discuss if else statement further in the video. So move on to the next point. To judge that whether the statement is true or false, we express the condition using relational operators, and some other ways are there also for these. So move on to the next slide, and we will discuss about the relational operators. So it allows us to compare two values to see whether they are equal to each other or unequal to each other, or whether they are one is greater than the other. So here are some expressions like x equals to y. Here is equals to y, which will create the syntax x equals to y. Here in C, equals to means equals to. X not equals to y, it means x is not equals to y. So move to the next point. The relational operators should be familiar to you, except the following operators, like equals to operator. In C, it is called equals to operator, and the exclamation mark with equals to is known as inequality operator or not equals to operator, and equals to is called assignment operator. So whereas equals to is used to compare two quantities or two values in C. So the next point, in starting we used to call the content parenthesis as condition, as we have called above, but we usually called it expression as a programmer. It is called as expressions. So the next point is if expression then statement. So in place of condition we write expression here. So move on to the next slide, that is multiple statements within if. So yes, it is possible in C that you can write multiple statements within if using a pair of braces as written here. And here is an example about printing multiple statements within if. So I will run this program at the end of the video. So move on to the next slide, that is the if else statement. So the group of statements after the if up to and not including the else is called an if block. Similarly, the statements after the else form the else block. Then here is a program for calculating gross salary of an employee, and I will run this program at the end of the video. So I will explain some words or some variables that I have used in this program. So first of all, it is int main section. Then I have take float data type for basic salary, gross salary, and DNS allowance, and HRA means house rental allowance. So BS is for basic salary, GS is for gross salary, DS for DNS allowance, and HRA is for house rent allowance. Then I have take the basic salary as an input from the user. Then some conditions are there for HRA and DA calculations, and in the section it is also mentioned some calculations. And then the formula of calculating gross salary by adding all this basic salary and HRA and plus DA. Then I have printed that gross salary. So here is a flowchart according to this program. So here is the start section. Then I have taken input of basic salary. Then I will check it from that BS is less than 1500 or not. If so, it's the if block and it's the else block. Then I have entered. Then I have assigned the basic salary plus HRA plus DA to gross salary and then print the gross salary. And after that, it will stop the executions. So move on to the next slide, that is nested if else's. It is perfectly alright if we write entire if else construct within either the body of the if or the body of the else statements. This is called nesting of if. So here is a program related to this, and I will run this program at the end of the video. So here is int I, printf enter either 1 or 2, scanf %d and I have taken the input from the user and I have tell that either you enter 1 or 2. So if I equals to 1, then the you will go to heaven will be printed, and as if I equals to 2, then hell was created with you in the mind, it will be printed, and as this statement will be printed. And move on to the next slide, that is forms of if. So in the A section, it is the if condition with single statement, then it is if with multiple statements, then if with single statement and as with single statement, then if with multiple statement and as with multiple statement. Then nested of if else is there in A and F part. So move on to the next slide, that is use of logical operators. So C allow usage of 3 logical operators, namely AND, OR and NOT. These are to be read as AND, OR and NOT respectively. 2 of them are composed of double symbols, the OR and the AND. Don't use the single symbols, single OR and the single AND. These symbols are also called bitwise operators which work on bit. So that's why that is called bitwise operator. The first 2 operators AND and OR allow 2 or more conditions to be combined in an if statement. If we want to combine multiple conditions within if, and we have to do that in our program. So that's why we have to use that AND and OR logical operator for that. So what is the AND operator? If all conditions are true, then the output is true, else it is false. And the OR operator is if one of the conditions is true, then the output is true, and if all the conditions are false, then the output is false. So move on to the next slide, and here is a program related to this, and we have written that in the second statement I have used AND logical operator, which is used to combine 2 conditions, and second division gets printed if both the condition is valid to true. If one of the condition is valid to false, then the whole thing is treated as false. And I will run this program at the end of the program and at the end of the video. So move on to the next slide, the as if clause. So the as if clause is nothing different, it is just a way of rearranging the as with the if that follows it. This will be evident if you look at the following code. So the code is here. If I equals to 2, print with you, as if j equals to 2, printf all the time. And here is a alternative of this program. If I equals to 2, then printf with you, as if j equals to 2, printf all the time. So both the programs are same, and there is nothing different in that, so that's why. So move to the next slide, the not operator. So this is the not operator and written as exclamation mark, and this operator reverses the result of the expression it operates on. For example, if the expression equals to a non-zero value, then applying not operator to it results into a 0 and vice versa. Example is not y less than 10. This means not y less than 10, and in other words, if y is less than 10, the expression will be false. Since y is less than 10 is true, we can express the same condition as y is greater than or equal to 10. So move on to the next slide, that is hierarchy of operators. So here are some operators and their hierarchy. So logical NOT is at the first position, and then arithmetic and modulus are there, then arithmetic plus minus are there, then relational operators, then some more relational operators, and after that then logical and logical or an assignment operator. So the conditional operators. So the conditional operators are denoted by like that, a question mark and then colon, are sometimes called ternary operators. It is also called ternary operators since they take three arguments. In fact, they form a kind of for shorthand if then else. Their general form is. So here is a syntax of the conditional operator. Here is expression 1, then question mark, expression 2, then colon, then expression 3. So what this expression says, if expression 1 is true, then the value of expression 2 is returned, otherwise the value of expression 3 is returned. So here is an example, int xy scanf %x. So we have taken x as an input from the user. So y equals to, if so here is a condition x greater than 5, question mark 3 and colon 4. So if the value we have taken from the user is greater than 5, then it will print 3. If it is not, then it will print 4, and it will assign the value to the y. So that's a program about example of that conditional operators. This statement will store 3 in y if x is greater than 5, otherwise it will store 4 in y. So here we have explained that. The equivalent if statement will be if x greater than 5, y equals to 3, as y equals to 4. So we can write this conditional statement as like this in the if else form. Then here is a program of printing a bigger number. So we have taken int abc. So big equals to a greater than b, a greater than b, then question mark a greater than c, question mark 3 colon 4 colon b greater than c, question mark 6 colon 8. So if a is greater than b, then this condition will be checked, and if it is true, then if it is true, then it will print 3 or 4, and if the condition is false, expression 1 is false, then it will come to the third expression, and here he check that b is greater than c or not. If it is true, then it will print 6, then if it is not true, then it will print 8. So move on to the next slide, that is the summary of the today's video lecture. So there are three ways for taking decisions in a program. First way is to use the if else statement, second way is to use the conditional operator, and the third way is to use the switch statement. So we are going to discuss the switch statement in our next video. So the default scope of the if statement is only the next statement. So to execute more than one statement, they must be written in a pair of braces. An if block needs not always be associated with an else block. However, an else block is always associated with an if statement. Logical and logical or are binary operators, whereas not is a unary operator. In C, every text expression is evaluated in terms of 0 and non-zero values. A 0 value is considered to be false and a non-zero value is to be considered as true. Assignment statements used with conditional operator must be enclosed within a pair of parentheses. So here is the program of if with multiple statements. So I have entered int a equals to 5 as 5 is greater than 2. So it's a true condition, and it will print true and hello world. So let's build this program. So we get hello world in the new line due to session, which we have mentioned in true at the end of the true. So move on to the next program, that is the calculation of gross salary of an employee. So we have to enter the basic salary of the employee. So in Sublime we have to mention the basic salary in input.txt. So let's mention that 200 and then build this program. So the gross salary of the employee is 400. That's the calculation of the gross salary after calculating HRA, DA and basic salary. So the next program is of nested if else, where we have to give the input either 1 or 2. So again move on to the input.txt and we have to give here 2. So let's build this program. So we have gotten the output that hell was created with you in mind. So as we mentioned, if I equals to 2, then hell was created with you in mind is should be printed. So it is the output here. So move to the next program, that is of calculating the average of the students. So here is a program. So we have to enter 5 subjects, the marks of 5 subjects. So going to the input.txt and mention some marks, then 70, 80, 90, 70, 80. So let's build this program. So here is the first division. After calculating the average of the marks we have given. So move on to the next program, that is insure.c, in which a problem statement is there of a company. In some condition they are going to insure its driver, and in other condition they are not going to insure their driver. So there are some conditions. So let's read this problem. So a company insures its driver in the following cases. So here are some cases. If the driver is married. So second condition, if the driver is unmarried male and above 30 years of age, and if the driver is unmarried female and above 25 years of age. In all other cases, the driver is not insured. And here are some inputs. The marital status is the input 1, the sex in the input 2, and the age is the input 3. And let's make this program. So hash include stereo dot h, the header file of C, then int main, the main section of the program. And first we are going to take care uh, M for marital status and S for sex, then int age as the age is in integer format, then taking some input from the users. So print f, enter the marital status, and a semicolon which act as a terminator. So scanf for taking input, and percent c comma and m for marital status. And then again we are going to take input from the user for the sex of the employee. So here we are going to write sex and the variable s, because this s denotes the sex of the employee. Then again taking input of age, then enter the age, and here it is percent d because age is in integer format, and the variable age. So now there are some conditions in the program. So first one is the if the driver is married, then the driver is insured. So for first condition, if m, that is for marital status, equals to m, capital M. So capital M denotes the marital status, the as I'm married, and uh, the capital M denotes that the driver is married, and here we are going to print that the driver is insured, and a semicolon is there. Then else if block, because there is one more condition. oh sorry, two more conditions, and then again a else block there. So the second condition is the driver is unmarried, male and above 30 years of age. So for marital status, M equals to U, the capital U, because U denotes unmarried. Then a logical and the sex of the employee, that is S equals to M, and age is greater than 30, because here it is mentioned that above 30 years of age. So if this condition is true, then it will print the driver is insured, and as if for one more condition is there, so that's why we are going to use one or more else if. Then M equals to U, the unmarried status, and a logical and then S equals to F for female, and sorry, it will be using a small m for male, and age is given as capital M denotes the married status, so that's why we are using small m here, and age greater than 25. Then if this condition match to be true, then print F, the driver is insured. Then a else block is there, and print F. So all the conditions are there, and the else of this condition is will be the driver is not insured, so we will write that the driver is not insured, and we will save this and receive the input in input.txt. So for marital status we have to mention capital M, and for sex we have to mention F, and for age we have to mention it 20, and let's build this program. So here's the output, that enter the marital status which we have entered in input.txt, then enter the sex, and then enter the age. So here are the three inputs, and the output is the driver is insured. As the driver is unmarried, as the driver is married, so that's why the output is the driver is insured. So thanks for watching the video, guys. If you like the video, please like and share and subscribe too, and we will meet in the next video. So thank you, guys.